And we're live. What's up, world? Welcome to PvP School Episode Dos.
Episode 2, for those non-Spanish speakers.
My name is Raviner, here with my partner Haptic. We're going to talk about some positioning in arenas today. And I guess BG is pretty much positioning anywhere you go, you're going to be PvPing, because it's pretty important. I took a quick swig from my Red Bull. So, great.
Marketing.
Haptic, tell me, why is positioning important in PvP?
Oh man, where to begin? Basically, it's important because it improves your chance of not dying, I guess, would be the best way to put it if you have good positioning. It decreases your vulnerabilities, I guess, if you have good positioning. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. If you see something coming, say like there's a Chaos Bolt, a Warlock is like... stop shaking my fucking camera. Warlock is charging up a Chaos Bolt, it's going to crit you for 200k, you're going to get obliterated. If you don't have, say, a Silence, a Wind Shear, a Counterspell, if you don't have some defensive cooldown, there's a really easy way to stop it. All you got to do is line of sight him, run behind a pillar, and if you have good positioning set up, you can accomplish that extraordinarily easily, and you can make it incredibly hard for the other team to get a kill on you without even having to use your spells or your moves or anything. So yeah, when you're in an arena, you want to have a positioning set up with your team where your healer is kind of sitting in the back behind some pillars. Your team can be out running around, but you don't want to overextend. So let's just hop into game cam really quick and talk a bit about that.
Okay.
So there, oh yeah, sweet.
I'm still here. Yep.
So here we are in the Grand Arena, and I got Greg over there.
Do you think we should do an example of bad positioning first?
Sure. So
Okay. Poor positioning would
standing
be here.
right out in the middle. I can just run out here and start raping him. And he's got nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. I can just keep him locked down in the middle all day long, and he can't do anything about it.
This is
When your
better
team
positioning.
is running out and playing in the middle, it's really hard to be able to control the game. Any team is going to be able to do whatever they want to, control you wherever you are, and
This is something you want to avoid.
you have nowhere to escape. If somebody locked me out down here in the middle, like if Greg froze me, I'd have to blow a cooldown, and they just have like free reign on me. And it would take me forever to run out of this line of sight. So he's just chasing me around the pillar. He can still attack me. What you want to do is have your healer come back here and hug the crap out of this pillar pretty much the entire time. So
Even not just a healer, another spellcaster could, but definitely as a healer you want cover at all times.
So tell him about your 90-degree rule.
I use this rule as kind of just like a guideline where I want my team to be. If say I'm on this side, let's start over on this side of the pillar because it's simple to get this concept. So I'm over on this side of the pillar. I don't want to have to pop out of line of sight unnecessarily. So say I want to heal Rav. He needs to move along this 90-degree line if at all possible. So I can heal him without being unnecessarily exposed to ranged spells, stuns, CCs. It kind of just follows that rule. If he wraps around towards the right of me, then you know I can make an adjustment.
Fighting over here, he can still hit me, and he's not really out.
I don't want to be unnecessarily exposed. Now, a lot of people might say, ooh, you're kind of out front here. What if their team's in the middle? Well, then you can just run around this way instead.
Yeah.
And apply that 90-degree rule over here.
Exactly.
You know, you want someone in field of vision. Now, if you have a caster, you know, you can have them near me as well, also hugging the pillar. But
So,
if anyone pushes out, you want to be able to maintain line of sight if possible.
it's something you got to really think about and pay attention to during your games. It's really easy to just tunnel and say, oh my god, he's over here, I'm just going to go rape him no matter where I'm going, and not realizing that when I'm over here attacking, you know, this player, which is actually Totem, Greg has to come all the way out into the middle in order to heal me. Now he's exposed for all kinds of CC. You want to set up beforehand with your team a good positioning area. Like you said, if he's back here behind this pillar, I want to control the pace of the game. I want to keep the fight over in this general location. That way he can heal me and he can stay out of line of sight, stay out of trouble, and he can run around and hide if something's chasing him.
Can I make an interesting point that a lot of people don't think about?
Absolutely.
Okay. A lot of people will say, well, what happens if they're not in the middle? What happens if they're over by their pillar?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times the answer is, if you're feeling confident, the main thing you have to do is go over to them, but make sure you get a setup. Make sure you're going in there and figuring out a plan to get CCs so you gain the advantage, and then you can set up better positioning. Another option, which I am a big fan of, is just waiting, because they can't win unless they come over and engage you.
Yeah.
And usually you're going to be the more patient team. People don't go into arena to lose, so they usually will always come over 90% of the time, and you're set up and you're ready to go. So it's a decision that you have to make. A lot of times you'll see teams will be over. You want to go over to the pillar diagonal from me, Rav?
Over here?
Yeah. Teams will set up at opposite pillars like this. You can, by all means, before you engage them, have your team run over to this pillar and set up and apply that same 90-degree
exactly.
rule.
Think of it this way.
You could move over here, and that way you still have the protection of the pillar, but you're not in the middle of their group.
Exactly.
And you can do that for the opposite side of arena as well.
Think of it this way. This arena is asymmetrical. All these pillars form the same area of play. So if you keep that 90-degree rule, say like if we're on this pillar, my team is going to play out in this area here, or in this area here. But they're never going to go the opposite end of the pillar, because that's going to force me to pull out. That goes for any pillar, whichever one. If they're staying over there the entire time, you can have that same rule, that same setup, but just over here. This way, the healer sits behind here. The area of play is going to be over in this area here, where he can pop out and heal and run back for the cover, or over here, where he can pop out and heal and run back for cover. But never in the middle, where he's going to be forced to pull out over here to heal, where he's exposed.
Yeah. Now, I mean, there are other ways. Like, there are going to be certain situations where maybe it might be okay for me to be right here, because, let's say, come over this way. Go over this way. Come to where I am. So stay there. Say everyone's fighting over here. It would be okay for me to come right over here, because I could still hit my team members and a bigger arc, and I can still use this for cover. The main thing is that 90-degree rule is just kind of a guideline that is optimal positioning, as far as say you have a caster and you have a melee on your team, which I run all the time. We have one caster and one melee. That 90-degree angle is great, because I can heal a caster that doesn't need to be in the middle of things. I can heal my melee. It's just really good to have that option, and you can make adjustments.
So it's definitely something you got to think about that not a lot of people really realize or understand. It takes some getting used to. When you first start out, it's really easy just to focus so hard on what the other team is doing, on going and attacking them wherever they are, chasing them around pillars and stuff. But really, it can make a huge difference if you allow them to take control of the game. You're going to be controlled. Your healer's going to get pulled out. He's going to be vulnerable to things like death grips, to the whirlwinds and solar beams, all that kind of stuff.
Can we do an example of maybe forcing line of sight? Because people are going to say, well, how can I line of sight if there's a melee on me? So just charge in and use your shuriken toss.
Running over to you,
I can freeze you, and I can go over here.
It's going to force me to blow my Cloak of Shadows, and even then, he already got a heal off in the time it took me to do that and run around the other side. Exactly. Now he's safe. I can't do anything unless I want to blow another cooldown, like a Vanish or Trinket or something. I have to keep him silenced or stunned. It just makes it difficult, I can't just sit still and do my top damage. I have to chase him, run around. Anyways, if you try and focus on your positioning, work it out with your team, whatever works best for you. Some people like to stay back In some of the other arenas, like, you can stay back in the opening area and get line of sight across the doors, things like that, or up and down staircases in Dalaran, for instance. Wherever it is you may be, work it out with your team. Make sure you pay attention to positioning. Always put marks on yourself so everybody knows where you are at all times.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You can't do it in battlegrounds, but you can put marks on before you step into arena and once you step into an arena.
Yeah.
And they'll stay, and it really helps with seeing. I can see like where Rav would be, and I don't need to pop out to actually visually see where he is or look on the map.
Yeah.
I can see his like little green triangle, whatever, through the pillar. It's really helpful.
For sure.
Yeah, it makes a gigantic difference.
So definitely practice it, work on it. Like I said, it's hard at first. It's really easy to just tunnel and forget about where you are. Just you want to get that kill. The dude's at 1% health. You want to rush in there, but it's almost always better. I mean, it's situational. You know, if you can get that kill, it might be beneficial, but it's always a risk. It's usually always better to just keep your good positioning, keep control of the game, pull back where your healer is, where you can take control of the game, and even if he is at low health and he's running around the pillar and running away, just pulling back and resetting and retargeting, it's still going to put you at an advantage because the opponent has to panic. He has to blow defensive cooldowns. He has to heal up to full. Healer's going to be focused on doing that. Maybe you can attack someone else in the meantime, make him spread his pressure.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, it's like if they're trying to pull you as a melee over on their half, you can just come back, get healed up. If you have even enough time, your healer can drink. You know, it's a great thing to think about. You definitely want it. It helps controlling the pace of the game.
Absolutely. So that's pretty much positioning in arenas, and it's a big aspect of PvP that not everybody would think of automatically.
Let me even show the benefits as a spellcaster real quick. Let me do that because I can do a few offensive things. So even as an offensive spellcaster, I can stay behind here. I usually have one of my teammates stay in this range because if they get rain, they can hit people from far away. They don't need to be out in the middle, so there's no reason they really need to be farther than this.
Yeah.
And then they can always just run back if they get focused, and they can just pop out. You know, say he's run over to me, pop back, do the same thing that I would do as my healer, on my healer, rather. You know, you just stay over here, line of sight. A lot of people are thinking, well, I'm not doing a lot of killing while I'm doing this, but maybe they're using offensive cooldowns, maybe they're getting frustrated.
Yeah, maybe he's wasting a shadow dance, like I just danced. Now it's like I'm forced to pop cooldown if I want to get it off.
Yeah. It's just about controlling the pace of the game, really.
Even as a rogue, you got your shuriken toss. I can line of sight back here, and I can just pop out and hit him, and not be pulled into any offensive attacks. Eat my dick. Anywho, we were going to do another segment today on losing and how important losses are and how you can understand your losses and figure out how to be a better player because of them. But fortunately, Greg's time's running short, so we might have to push that episode until maybe Monday or Wednesday. How far can we go in sustained?
I don't know, that's what I want to find out. Doesn't look like that far. Oh, pretty far, yes. I think I might be able to do one more. You can see.
Think so? Alright.
Another quick one like this? Yeah, I think so.
Well, let's go ahead and go to a break then, and when we come back, we're going to try and talk about losses and how important they are, even though you might think
Help
they
me
suck.
kill this thing.
Alright. Cool. We'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned, listen to some sick-ass music, and you're going to learn to up your game.